On me that it's a very easy concept to understand, most difficult to implement. And let me say that after 33 years, I'm still struggling. It's maybe 1% or 0.1% of the time I actually let God manage my life. The rest of the time I'm trying to manage my life. And whenever I try to manage my life, it's a disaster. And in the 0.1% then I let God manage my life, it's really successful. But despite understanding it, my ego doesn't allow me to let God manage my life. So I think, this warning that it is very difficult to implement is drilled into my head completely now, and through experience. So it has been a very good and nice journey, and I hope that 0.1% will keep increasing over the years as I continue to come to and stay and learn from Sripeetam and all the devotees. Thank you very much, Swamiji, for this honor and opportunity. I now call Sri Kumar Gurubai to say a few words.
Pranam to Sri Sathguru, Pranam to Sri Vishnu Mohan, Pranam to Swamiji, and Namaskaram to all fellow devotees. With Sri Sathguru's grace, today Swamiji wanted to hear from many of us about today's event. And after Gurubai Yajneshwar, he's given permission for me to speak. Just to quickly share one or two thoughts. A few years back, before, it must have been in 2013, I think, I don't recall. But a few years back, Sathguru called all the trustees and spent a long time explaining how trustee should be. She emphasized that, like all devotees, we have to have that unshakable faith and conviction, trust and obedience, and Sharanagati. Apart from that, as trustees also, she explained how we should be. Those minutes are still available, and most wonderful to not only read and reflect upon, but also most wonderful as a guideline for all the trustees. Less like Gurubai Yajneshwar said, possibly 0.001% of the time, I may have adhered to those, but it is in the mind. It's a yardstick and a goal. As far as Sathguru's guidelines that day for devotees are concerned, it is similar to what he has always said with us. It is that unshakable faith and devotion, Sharanagati, living a clean and noble life, always reflecting on Bhagavan in his various attributes. I just want to share two more thoughts and then I'll stand aside for the most wonderful devotee, SriVishnu, to share his thoughts with us. One is about her Upadeshams. Just like the Vedas are a compendium of all spiritual thinking, and the Gita is a summary of the Veda, of the Upanishads, which in turn are a summary of the Veda. Like that, her Upadeshams are a summary of Srimad Bhagavad Gita itself. Now we have to remember that we have access to her Upadeshams, just like we have access to Srimad Bhagavatam and Mahabharatam and many wonderful texts, because of Sri Vyasa, who himself quietly as a catalyst has given us these. Like that, her Upadeshams are given to our, sifted through her discourses and talks and conversations and dialogue, and given to us by Swami Sri Hari Prasad. We have to always remember that. Yes, those Upanishads are about Sri Sathguru herself. They have come to us, like the other texts have come to us through the Rishi Vyasa, they have come to us through Swami Sri Hari Prasad. The second thought was, when we see when we read any of her Upanishads, and we read it over time, read it today, read it tomorrow, read it 3 months later, read it 1 year later, and so on, it will always make sense to us. The previous understanding made sense to us then, it will still make sense to us now, and the new understanding will make sense to us, it will complement each other. There are things that we have heard from Sri Sathguru on how to be. Once Sri Sathguru told me, I was in Singapore at that time, Sathguru gave me the plate that she was using for her food. He gave me and told me to use it for my food. Out of respect for Sri Sathguru and the divinity of her hand, touching that plate and giving it to me, I kept it in the puja room. For a subsequent 1 or 2 visits, she asked me, Kumar, are you using that? He said, Sathguru, I kept it in the puja room. Subsequently, a few months later, I had typhoid. I had complications relating to that. Then, with her grace, I became well. And there was one message from her. At that time, that particular day, there was no darshan. This was in Westmangalam. This was in Vrindavan Street. Swamiji wrote down her message and gave it to me and said, it is because of the attitude which I displayed when I was unwell that I am alive. That is the significance of her giving me her plate. If I had eaten from that, none of this would have happened. So my point is not about Sripeetam. My point is about the messages from Sri Sathguru, her guidance, her immense affection, and at the same time, her total devotion to the Supreme. So as devotees, while I think we stand a lot to self-improve, self-transform by reading, reflecting, and trying to imbibe her Upanishads, we also need to live by her personal guidance and teachings to each of us. And she has told each of us to come to her as often as possible. One day she told me, I'll just say this one thing and I'll step back because I know, other devotees wish to hear from other people. One day she told me with a great deal of sorrow, Swami Sridhari Prasad was there at that time, nobody else was present. He said, devotees are not coming. They don't know how good it is for them if they come. That's all she said. But she was full of sorrow, just as Sri Krishna, as a child sitting on the tree, seeing Sudama eating Krishna's share of food also, felt full of sorrow about the difficult times that Sudama was almost inviting on himself as a householder. Like that, Sri Sathguru was full of sorrow that many of us were not coming to Sripeetam as often as we can. It's not that she wanted us to come every day, every instant. She would have liked it, of course. But she would have liked it because we were imbibing divine energy and spiritual protection. Not for any personal joy or anything like that. She was beyond all that. So I'm just leaving you with these 3 thoughts of mine, based at Sri Sathguru's lotus feet, about her Upanishads, about her individual guidance to us, and about the need for us to physically come here and take full advantage of the protection and grace of divine energy. Pranam to Sri Sathguru, Pranam to Sri Vishnu Mohan Fou, Pranam to Swamiji, and Namaskaram to all devotees. Narayana.
Jnananda Saraswati Namaha. Pranams to Sri Hariprasad Namaha, who is present amongst ourselves now. And I go back to some 50 years ago. 50 வருஷம் சும்மா இல்லை, 50 வருஷத்துக்கு பின்னால போறேன். காஞ்சிபுரத்துல ஏதோ வேலை இருந்தது எனக்கு. அப்போ நான் ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருந்தேன், சின்ன பையன். வேலையெல்லாம் முடிச்சு சாப்பிட்டு நல்லா புது பெரியவாங்கேருந்து வந்திருக்கா வடநாட்டிலேருந்தே அவளை பார்க்கலான்னு சொன்னாங்க என் ஃப்ரெண்டு கூட வந்துருந்தோம் என் மேனேஜர். சரி எங்கேயோ போனோம், அங்கெல்லாம் கோயிலெல்லாம் சுற்றுவோம். We went around the temples and all that, but then we could never find the Swami there. But as I was crossing Kandagotam, I found the sannyasis from Jnananda Tapovanam. If there is one or two, I can understand what it is, but there are 500 people there, all of them from Jnananda Tapovanam, where I had been there for a number of years. So I said, what is this? What's happening here? Went to them and asked them, என்னாச்சு நீங்க எல்லாம் நிற்கிறது இல்லையா உனக்கு சன்னியாசி வாங்கிட்டுக்கா இதெல்லாம் உட்காந்துக்கா போய் பாருங்க. Go and see them. I just very suddenly turned right. As I turned right, I saw a crowd. I was sitting down and the center formed from Lord Vishnu. A Swamiji was sitting there, glowing. Glowing, you don't know. Yes, glowing. I've seen many sannyasis, but hey, I said, suddenly behind the sannyasi, Mr. Mohin was there. Mr. Mohin happened to be in Manjula. He was there. So I went forward. Mango, said, do you know I was getting sannyasa today? உங்களுக்கு தெரியுமா நான் சன்னியாசம் வாங்கிக்கிறது அப்படின்னு சொன்னார் சுவாமி. எங்கள் உட்காந்துருவார். ரொம்ப அழகாக இருந்தது. நான் தெரியாது இல்லை, இதுதான் பிராப்தம் பாருங்க அப்படின்னார். பிராப்தத்துக்கு அர்த்தம் சொன்னவர் அவர். ஏன் பிராப்தம் நமஸ்காரம் பண்ண இது நிறையா ஸ்லோகம்லாம் சொல்லுவோம், பாட்டெல்லாம் பாடுவோம், ரொம்ப பக்தி உண்டு, கொஞ்சம் முரண்டு போயா அப்படின்னு. சரி நீங்கள் நான் மெட்ராஸுக்கு போயிருக்கு, மெட்ராஸுக்கு நான் போகிறேன், நீங்கள் வாங்க அப்படின்னா. சரி நம்ம கூப்பிடாரு இருக்காங்க. ஒரு வாரம் 10 நாள் கழிச்சு மெட்ராஸுக்கு வந்தார் அவர். அதுக்கப்புறம் நாங்கள் போனோம், நமஸ்காரம் பண்ணோம். அப்போது விஷ்ணு மோகன் பக்கத்தில் இருந்தார். நான் நமஸ்காரம் பண்ண விதத்தை பற்றி கையை வச்சுருந்த பார்த்துட்டு, நீங்கள் ஸ்ரீவித்யா பண்ணுவதா அப்படின்னு கேட்டார். சுவாமி ஒன்றும் கேட்கல, இவர் தான் கேட்டார். இல்லை ஸ்ரீவித்யாலாம் பண்ண மாட்டேன், அந்த அளவுக்கு நான் போகல, லலிதா சாஸ்திரம் நான் பயந்துருக்கேன், ஒரு 8 வருஷமாக பண்ணுறேன், பூஜை பண்ணுவேன், பூஜை பண்ணிட்டு தான் ஆஃபீஸ் போவேன், எல்லாரும் போக மாட்டேன், அதான் பார்த்தோன்னு தெரிஞ்சது இல்லை. சரி அதான் பிகினிங். நான் தமிழில் எனக்கு ஆசை ஜாஸ்தி, ஏதாவது நிறைய பாட்டு எழுதியிருக்கேன். ஒன்றும் எழுதியிருந்தேன், அது ஒரு நாளைக்கு வச்ச சுவாமிகிட்ட படிச்சு காமிச்சேன். தமிழ் நன்னா இருக்கே, நல்லா எழுதிக்கல, என்னை பற்றி ஒரு பாட்டு எழுதிக்கோ. இன்னும் இவரை பற்றி அவர் பாட்டு எழுதுறது, நான் என்னது இவரோட சன்னியாசி, இவரை பற்றி எனக்கு ஒன்றுமே தெரியாது. நான் என்ன எழுதுவேன், ஒரு நாள் ஆச்சு, 2 நாள் ஆச்சு, 3ஆம் நாள் காலமாக வந்தேன், நமஸ்காரம் பண்ணேன். என்ன என்னால் எழுத முடியாது, நீங்கள் உட்காந்து எழுதுங்க அப்படின்னா. அன்றைக்கி ராத்திரி சாப்பிட்டுட்டு உட்காந்து எழுதுங்க அப்படின்னா. சரி சாப்பிட்டேன், ஒரு பேப்பர் எடுத்துனேன், பென்சில் எடுத்துனேன், மரமான எழுதி முடிச்சுட்டேன். ஞானானந்த சரஸ்வதி அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஒரு பாட்டு. இன்றைக்கும் இந்த இடத்துல ஒரு சுவாமி இருந்தாருன்னா அதை பாடுவேன். அது அமைக்க முடியாது, அவ்வளோ அழகா அது அமைஞ்சது. ஏன் சொல்றேன்னா, இந்த பிராப்தம்னு சொன்னாரே அதனுடைய அர்த்தம் அதுதான். அதுதான் பிராப்தம். எனக்கு சமஸ்கிருதமே தெரியாது, நான் தமிழ் சொல்லிட்டு, ஆனால் அந்த பாட்டு முழுக்க சமஸ்கிருதம் எழுதினேன். அதுக்கு ஆரம்பம் ஒன்றுமே இல்லை, அது நான் போட்டுட்டேனே அப்படின்னு. அதுதான் இருக்கா, சரி பாடுங்க இல்லை பாருங்க. 50 நாள் சொன்னேன், 50 நாள் இந்த பாட்டு இந்த நடந்துருக்கு. இங்கே கூட பாடியிருக்கேன் நான் நிறைய பேர். சாமி இந்த ஊர் சாமி போன போது அவர் பாடி. எதுக்கு சொல்ல வரேன், அந்த பிராப்தங்கிற வார்த்தையே எஸ்டாப்ளிஷ் பண்ணுறாரு எப்படி அப்படின்னு. அந்த சக்தி என்ன மாதிரி வருது, தெய்வ சக்தி என்ன மாதிரி வருது. ஒரு துரும்பு வச்சுருந்தவா என்ன வேணா பண்ணுவா. நான் ஒரு துரும்பு தான், நான் ஒரு ரெண்டு அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் நிறைய எழுதினேன். ஒரு இப்போ ரீசெண்டாக 2 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி எழுதுறது புத்தகமாக வந்தது. எல்லாருக்கும் கொடுத்தா, சுவாமி தான் கொடுத்தார். அதில் எழுதிக்கேன், எனதென்று ஒன்றுமில்லேன், எனதென்று ஒன்றுமில்லேன், என்னை உடையவரே. என்னை உடையவர் அவர். தனதென்று ஆட்கொண்டீர். எப்படி? தனது என்று ஆட்கொண்டீர். நீ என்ன சேர்ந்த வேண்டாது, பிராப்தண்டா, பிராப்தவனுக்கு இந்த ஜென்மத்தில் அவனுக்கு கிடைச்சிக்கிறா. இது மாதிரி அங்கே நான் அழிந்தது. தி இண்டிவிஜுவல் செல்ஃப் இஸ் லாஸ்ட் கம்ப்ளீட்லி. No more the individual self. आपके हैं, நான் உங்களுடையவன் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாரு. அவர் சொல்ல முடியாது, நான் அங்கே அழிந்ததுவே அப்படின்னு வச்சியா போகிறது. கட்சியில் அவருக்கு சரணாகத்தியை வந்து முடியாது. இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு மனுஷாக்கிட்ட என்ன டேலண்ட்ஸ் இருக்கு, அவள் என்ன பண்ணுவா, அவளுக்கு பக்தி எப்படி வரும், இந்த பக்தி எப்படி ஜாஸ்தியாக பண்ணலாம், அதிகமாக பண்ண முடியும் அப்படின்னு நினச்சிட்டு விடாமுயற்சியாக பண்ணியிருந்தார். அப்போ நாங்கள் எங்கள் மெட்ராஸில் இருக்கும்போது வேதகிரி ஒரு இருந்தார். அவர் தான் இந்த ப்ரெஸ் எல்லாம் சிவராமன் சார். அபார பிரேம அவருக்கு, அவ்வளோ பிரேம யாருக்கு கிடையாது. சிவராமன், லக்ஷ்மி அம்பி இருந்தார், இதெல்லாம் சொல்றேன்னா 50 வருஷ காலத்துல என்ன இருந்தே சொல்ல லட்சுமி வாங்கி இருந்தா. இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய பேர் இருக்காருந்தா. ராமகிருஷ்ணன் இருந்தார், அசோகலையில் ராமகிருஷ்ணன், அவரும் அப்படிதான் எல்லாத்தையும் பார்த்துட்டு இருந்தார். திடீர்னு நினச்சிப்பார், சுவாமி நாளைக்கு காலம்பர 6:15 மணிக்கு இருந்தார். காலைம்பர 6:15 மணிக்கு பீச்சுக்கு போகிறோம். பார்த்தா ஒரு 30 பேர் இருக்கா. 6 மணிக்கு there will be 60 people waiting at 6 o'clock in the morning at the Sripeetam to go to the beach. அவர் பீச்சுக்கு போகணும்னு சொன்னார். எல்லாம் ஓடுவார். அந்த சமுத்திரத்தை பார்த்த உடனே அவர் என்னமா சந்தோஷப்படுவாருன்னா, நான் இன்னொன்று கேட்குறேன், ஆகாசம் இருக்கு, ஸ்கை, அது யாரா ஆரம்பிச்சாரா? நீங்க டிராவல் பண்ணிருக்காரு, இங்க வேணாம் போகலாம். ஆனா இவ்வளவுதான் ஆகாசம் சொல்லிக்கல, ஜலத்தை சமுத்திரத்தை சொல்லிவிட முடியும், லோகத்தை சொல்லிவிட முடியும். ஆனா ஆகாசத்தை சொல்ல முடியாது, யாராலையும் கண்டுபிடிக்கும். அதுதான் என் குரு, என்னுடைய சத்குரு. அதுதான் அவர்கிட்ட எவ்வளவு பக்தி இருக்கோ அதே சமயத்துல ரொம்ப கடினா இருப்பார். என்னுடைய சொந்த அனுபவத்தை சொல்றேன். கல்கட்டாவுக்கு போகணும், அங்கே ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ணுங்கன்னார். எல்லாம் நான் போய், எனக்கு வெங்காயம் தெரியும், அதனால நான் போய் எல்லாம் ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ணி போயிட்டு திரும்பி வந்து அவர்கிட்ட இந்த மாதிரி அரேஞ்ச் பண்ணிட்டேன்னு சொன்னேன். எல்லாரும் போனோம். என்னையும் ஆக்சிடென்ட் போனார். இங்கே போனவங்க ஒரு சின்ன தப்பு பண்ணிட்டேன், ரொம்ப சின்ன தப்பு, அது பண்ணக்கூடாது. புக்கு பார்சல் வந்தது 2ஆம் நாள் மெட்ராஸ்லேருந்து கல்கட்டாக்கு, அது தந்துவிட்டேன். அவர்கிட்ட சொல்லலை. எனக்கு கூட ஒரு ஆள் இருந்தா, ஆனால் தண்டனை எனக்கு தான் வந்தது. ஏன்னா பிராப்தம் அப்படிங்கிறதுனால போனேன். இந்த மாதிரி சொன்னேன். ஓ, யூ ஓப்பன்ட் இட், யூ டுக் மை பர்மிஷன், யூ கேம், ஐ டோன்ட் வாண்ட் டு சீ யூ. நான் 8வது போனால் அங்கே திரும்புவார், இப்படி வந்தால் இங்கே திரும்புவார், இப்படி வந்தால் அங்கே திரும்புவார். என்ன பார்க்கவே மாட்டார், எனக்காக கவனிக்க மாட்டார். சுவாமி பக்கத்தில் இருந்தார். அப்போ கூடவே இருந்தார் 8 நாள். தண்டனையா அந்த மாதிரி இந்த லைஃப்பில் தண்டனையே கிடையாது. அவர் மாதிரி இருக்கிறது கிடையாது. ரெண்டோ தமிழ்த்தாதமா அவர் மாதிரி தண்டிக்கிறது யாரும் கிடையாது. அந்த மாதிரி லவ் பண்ணுறதும் கிடையாது. அவ்வளோ என்னை தனியாகவே படித்தார். எல்லாரும் ஒரு இடத்துல இருந்தா, ஒரு பெரிய வீடு, அது அங்கே காலமாக வா அங்கே போயிருந்தார். கொஞ்சம் இருளான இருள் இருக்கும் அங்கே இருந்தேன். எதுக்கு சொல்ல வரேன், அவர் எத்தனை விதமா நம்மளை சொல்லிக் கொடுக்க முடியும் அப்படின்றத டெமான்ஸ்ட்ரேட் பண்ணார். இதே மாதிரி நான் ஹைதராபாத்தில் வேலை செஞ்சிருந்தேன். அம்மா தவறி போச்சா, சரியா போச்சு, இதே போச்சு, ஆயிடுச்செல்லாம் அப்புறம் வச்ச போன சுவாமி வந்தார். இதுதான் சொல்லப்படாதா சுவாமி அப்படின்னு வந்தே பார்க்கணும் கோபம். ஒரு பிச்சு அப்படித்தாரு. நான் என்ன கிளிக்கு வருஷமா சொல்றேன், மற்றடியில் உட்காந்து என்ன நினைச்சிட்டு கேள்வி, எதுக்கு வந்து கேள்வி அப்படின்னு கேட்டார் இந்த சத்குரு. அவர் சாதாரண சமாஜம் தெரிவிக்க மாட்டார். அதனால எங்க சத்குரு ஸ்ரீ ஞானானந்த சரஸ்வதி மாதிரியோ எங்க சுவாமி மாதிரியோ இனிமே சொல்லிக் கொடுக்குறவா யாரும் கிடையாது. A person's life can be improved only by association with such wonderful person. Shri Guru Namaha Nyananda Saraswati. Pranam to Swami Ji.
Pranam to Sri Sathguru, SriVishnu Mohan and Revered Swami Ji. Our family started coming regularly to Sripeetam from July 1977 when I was posted for 2 years in Chennai. Our contact with Sripeetam and Sri Sathguru was continuous since then. Sri Sathguru was everything to us. Guru who led us on the spiritual path, guide and protector in our worldly activities. Whatever decision we had to take, we placed before Sri Sathguru and acted as advised by her, and the results were good. Numerous are the instances where Sri Sathguru's advice led to favorable and even miraculous outcomes. I shall give just one instance. After our 2-year stay in Chennai, I was posted to Shillong in July 1979. Gauri had finished her 12th class and was to join 12th class board exam and was to join college. And Mohan was to join 11th class in DAV High School. We had darshan of Sri Sathguru at Sripeetam at Gopalapuram, and my wife asked Sri Sathguru whether she could stay back with the children and I could go alone to Shillong. Sri Sathguru emphatically said no and asked my wife to go with me to Shillong and leave the children with my parents. Sri Sathguru then turned to my father and mother, who were also present, and asked, "Will you look after the children?" My parents readily agreed. Thereafter we went to Shillong, but we disregarded Sri Sathguru's advice in one thing and paid the price for it. We left behind Gauri to join college in Chennai, but took Mohan, our son, along with us to Shillong instead of leaving him also to complete his 11th and 12th class in Chennai. Soon after we reached Shillong and admitted Mohan in an educational institution there, the Assam agitation started with Assamese fighting the Bengalis. Curfew was declared and all educational institutions were closed indefinitely. They remained shut without knowing, we did not know when they will open. Mohan had to remain at home and we were at a loss to know what to do. We prayed for some way out. Then the miracle happened. We had stuck newspapers on the window panes of our dining room for want of curtains. My wife happened to look closely at one of the papers as she turned her head one day and saw an advertisement by Patrachar Vidyalaya, the distance education wing of the Kendriya Vidyalaya Sankata, that is to say the central schools for children of government servants. The advertisement invited applications for admission to various classes. My wife took down the paper and made my son fill the application for the 11th class and sent it to my mother-in-law who was in Delhi. She took it to the head office of the organization in Delhi and handed it over. To our surprise, it was readily accepted and Mohan was admitted to the 11th class by correspondence. He received the first batch of study material from Delhi, but not further batches due to the agitation. Then in December 1979, we made the decision to send Mohan back to Chennai with a transfer certificate from the Kendriya Vidyalaya. Mohan went back to his old school, the DAV High School, with the transfer certificate. The headmaster readily admitted him in the 11th class board on the basis of the TC. Mohan was not very familiar with the portions taught in the first 2 quarters and was dreading how he would be able to pass the final exam. Then miraculously, the DAV school organization which conducted the 11th class exam decided to confine the final exam only to the 3rd quarter portion. Mohan could easily pass the 11th as a result. This is again an example of Sri Sathguru's infinite compassion in rescuing us from our predicament even when we had not heeded Sri Sathguru's advice. So with all due humility, I pray to Sri Sathguru to guide us forever and aye.
Thank you, Ishwaran uncle and Venkateshwar uncle. It was very nice listening to you. I request Anand next, and there are 5 more speakers, so I just request them to keep it as short as possible. So we have Anand next.
We have all heard of being born into privilege. So my privilege started in this Janmam when I was 40 days old. My mother brought me to Sripeetam and left me at Sadhguru's feet as a baby. Of course, I don't remember it, but that's when I believe my privilege of this Janmam began. So I have off and on through the last 44 years, I have interacted with Sadhguru through various phases of my life. But now, very briefly, I just want to touch upon my experience as a child. The reason being, whatever I experienced in those first 10 years or so of my life, I think laid the foundation for me to keep coming back to Sri Sathguru and to Sripeetam over all the vicissitudes of life, wherever it took me. I have always found my way back by Sri Sathguru's grace and the foundation that he laid. So my earliest experiences of Sripeetam and Sri Sathguru was traveling over very long distances across Chennai over multiple buses for evening darshans, and also accompanied by a lot of drama at home, which I was very much aware of. But in spite of all this, there was something about coming to Sripeetam, and whether it was a darshan day or even when there was no darshan, there's something about coming to Sripeetam which had a magnetic attraction. When there was darshan, Sri Sathguru, it used to be in Nagar house, Sri Sathguru used to be either giving a discourse or it used to be just quiet meditation. When there were no darshans, you would knock on the door and Sri Vishnu Mohan used to open, and just seeing his smile, though I never interacted with him at that time, just seeing his smile, these were experiences which somehow, I don't know, it's not logical to explain, but made it worth the journey. And one incident over the earliest interaction I can remember with Sri Sathguru was probably when I was some 6 or 7 years old. I remember hearing during Sri Sathguru's discourses about God and her interactions with God, and I never understood it, because for me God was a picture in the puja room, and obviously with no interaction, where I just mechanically said a prayer and I didn't understand it at all. So I think I asked my mother, and she said, "You have to ask Sadhguru." So I was too shy to talk, but that one darshan day in Nagar, there used to be a balcony on the side where Sri Sathguru was sitting there, with devotees sitting around with a coconut tree at the back, and I clearly remember it. And then I somehow had the courage to ask Sadhguru, have you seen God? And Sadhguru's response to me was, yes, I can see Him, I can hear you, and so can you if you try. And that has stayed like a carrot in front of this donkey all through my life, like one tantalizing promise. So that is how I see Sripeetam, as a vessel that Sri Sadhguru created to bring this promise to us, to all of us, to make it real for all of us. And I remember Sri Vishnu Mohan's article in Voice Divine, one of the early copies, where he said Sri Sadhguru has gone on to pilot this great ocean liner, which is Sri Jnana-Advaita Peetam. And it's only left to all of us to cling like limpets to it, to be carried over to the other side. So with enormous gratitude at the lotus feet of Sri Sadhguru for investing so much of her life, spiritual energy and time into Sri Jnana-Advaita Peetam. And being very grateful to be here as a part of this organization. My namaskaram to Sri Sadhguru. Namaskaram to devotee.
I now call upon Harini.
My pranams to Sathguru, my pranams to Swamiji. Like Anand said, some of us are born into privilege, and I would say that I was born into it as well, because I don't remember my life before Sripeetam. Somehow, everything we did centered around Sripeetam. Whether it was, being rushed like Anand after school to Sripeetam, or for every festival where we would first come to Sripeetam, celebrate in Sripeetam, and only then even think of celebrating it at home. So in fact, my daughter recently asked me, what exactly do we do for Vinayaka Chaturthi at home? And I said, actually we just do everything at Sripeetam. So there's probably a pulayar at home, and we probably light the lamp and say a few prayers, but the celebrations always happened here. And as naughty as a child that I was, it was probably only Sadhguru who could sort of handle that naughtiness, temper it, not with scoldings, not with reprimands, but with love and concern. And that love and concern extended right through to the end, because even I think this was probably when Sadhguru was in Westmangalam. Shubha and I were there, and somehow it became late, and we were supposed to go home in a taxi or an auto. And Sadhguru called Shubha and me and said, please, you know what, once you reach home, please call and let me know that you reached safely. Because if you don't call, I will not be able to sleep tonight. And even now when I think about that smile and that expression when she said that, it was like, why would Sadhguru have to go through all this? And for us, waiting for us to call and tell her that I've reached home safely. But that same concern extended not just for little things, even bigger things. There was a point of time when my husband was having a pretty serious surgery. And all the time, Sadhguru was sitting in Sripeetam, and Dr. Govindan was there, and she would keep telling him, please call and find out at what stage the surgery is. Have they finished this? Is he under anesthesia? Is he out of anesthesia? Have they finished? What did the doctor say? Right through, almost like every 10 minutes, she would keep asking. And finally, when, the news was conveyed to her that all was okay, the surgery went off well, she said, Abba, I was praying to God that everything should be okay. Imagine a prayer from your Guru when you should be offering those prayers. So that was the kind of compassion, love and concern that Sadhguru had for every single person who came to Sripeetam. And Sripeetam then becomes a home more than your own home. So anytime there was a problem, anytime there was a celebration, the place that you came to was Sripeetam. And the first person you informed about this was Sri Sadhguru. And I hope that she guides us to be able to keep that connection with Sripeetam and with our Guru for the rest of our lives. My pranams to Shri Sathguru, my pranams to Sri.
I call Dr. Chandran. Pranams to Sadhguru, pranams Sri Vishnu Mohan Fou, pranams Swamiji. At the outset, I would like to thank Sadhguru and Swamiji for the honor and rare privilege to talk a few words. Like many have said, Vishnu Mama was saying, so Sathguru had told me to write this and that. It's only because of the basic, the fundamental idea of a Guru gives you what you don't have and strengthens what you have. So that was the idea because of, so we might know what is our talent. So that spark is enough to tell you what you are capable of. That is one. Second is like Ananta was saying, when I can do it, why can't you? Because it is obviously it is known. We should go to the fundamental idea of Sathguru's teaching of Advaitam. Like we are all sparks from that great ball of fire. So when that great ball of fire, a Guru has so much of that innate quality. We also have that spark also has the same quality. So and help, like many say, help comes in innumerable ways and anytime you pray for without asking. Like many a time we might go to do a small errand wherein we feel we have to walk a few distance of the it might come on a platter, someone offering it straight away. Or sometimes, and Sadhi was saying, Mr. Sadhi was saying about him doing so much of Kaingaryam, and Sathguru herself had told if you do something for Sripeetam, you get it 10 times more. So we remember when this place, when Sathguru had bought this place for Sripeetam, there was a lot of issues, troubling issues, and there was one local man trying to sort of usurp this property. So we had to go to court. So the command was, the devotees had to go to court. So as being a doctor, I was working in a corporate hospital, quite busy. I was the only person there. So the command was go to the court. So we went to the High Court. So morning I went and punched at 9 o'clock. Without informing anyone, I just walked out. I went to the High Court and came back after all the procedure was over. We came back at 5. We came and punched. In between, normally I would get at least 10 to 20 pages. Where are you? Where are you? I went and punched at 5 o'clock. No questions asked. So that is the cushion you get. So that is one. And as of now, recently, we had some medical issues that a close family member. So as usual, we take all precautions, thinking that we have insurance at hand. So just for the extra amount, suppose we had a reasonable amount going there, the insurance process hadn't been processed. So said they asked me we had to pay a part of the advance. It was quite a high amount. So quite panicked in the sense. Luckily through Sadhguru's grace and Swamiji's advice, we could establish a contact, and that contact sort of allayed our fears, assured us, don't worry, I'll give the go-ahead, you can go to the procedure, and at the end of the procedure, don't worry, we'll upload the discharge summary, and then we can wait and see, then make the payment. Because making the payment and getting back the money is one of the problem. Paying a reasonable amount, quite a huge amount, is also another burden. So Sathguru saw to that we needn't pay immediately. We were sort of assured through Swamiji's help. Then subsequently went through the procedure. Till the end of the procedure, till the time of discharge, the insurance was still pending. Then we called back Swamiji, this is the state. don't worry, just tell a mantra, Narsimha mantra. You just saying mantra within half an hour, the insurance was sanctioned, so not a penny had to pay, and we had to pay something extra, even that was waived off. So, Sadhguru's grace, everything happened perfectly. Everything happened perfectly, and many a time, I think this was, many a time, what has happened was, I think there was an article written long back by Swamiji. There was a research done by Russian scientists about the relationship between mother and its progeny. So they tested it with a rabbit. So they left the mother rabbit at the shoals and they took that its progeny in a submarine, and after a certain time, when they are about to, harm it or kill it, the pulse rate of the mother rabbit went up terribly. So that is the connect, like something happens to the devotee, Guru immediately knows. So without asking, that is how we get the help. So with all this, so much of help without asking, only thing we should, the gratitude we should show to our Guru is by living for what Sadhguru has taught us. I understand we have a lot of pitfalls. Even now, early morning, I unnecessarily throw up some tantrums at home. That happens still. Don't deny that. But a long way to go. I understand, because it's a process in evolution. Not get unduly upset about it, as Sadhguru says, because it's an process of evolution. So the only thing you have to go through the grind, see that you minimize troubling others as much as, not troubling others as much as possible. That's the only way. And by living for what Sadhguru has taught us in the dharmic way and being humble, that is very, very important. That humility should be there. That is also something. So over a period of time, what has happened to me is, I literally came like a wild west, throwing up tantrums, being quite arrogant. But now at least, now I understand that I don't know whether I've tamed or not, I've become more tame or not, but at least now I understand I have to pay for it later. So, with this few words, I thank the Sadhguru Man, Sri Vishnu Mohan Swami, Sri Vishnu Mohan Swami and Swamiji for the immense help as a divine mother and divine brother they have given us. And the only way we could show our gratitude by living for what the Sadhguru has taught us. I call Ramdas Gurubai to say a few words. Pranam Shri Sadhguru, Pranam Shri Swamiji. This journey with Sri Sadhguru and Swamiji has been 37 years for me. The summary of this journey is that I feel that I am very fortunate to have been blessed by Sadhguru. I always feel that we are all floaters in different places in this hemisphere. Suddenly, the grace of Sadhguru has brought each one of us into the umbrella and radar of Sri Sadhguru. And as Swamiji has mentioned earlier in many occasions, this is a journey which takes several janmas we have crossed to reach Sadhguru. And Sadhguru will take care of us for this journey and what is left of us for the remaining period also, until we reach Sri Sadhguru's lotus feet. Only prayer to Sri Sadhguru is to see that we follow her path, whatever information she has given, and do as much as seva as possible to remember what she has taught us and do our best to Sripeetam. Pranam to Sri Sadhguru, Pranam Swamiji. Sripeetam Gurubai.
Pranam to Sri Sadhguru, pranam to Sri Vishnu Mohan, pranam to our beloved Swamiji. Actually, my association with Sripeetam goes beyond 3-4 decades. The experiences are many, and it will take years for me to tell everything.
But here I have been asked to be very, very brief. So I just touch upon one or two experiences which I had in the initial phase of my visit to Sri Peetam. I came to see Sathguru in February 1978, and at that time I was a young man and working in Madras Institute of Technology. I used to take a lot of time to do my makeup, and I used to do my hair to the forehead. I wanted to be stylish or something like that. But after I came to Sathguru, before I came to Sathguru, I was in oscillation, but I already had gone to India mission, so I had known philosophy, Vedanta, everything. But still, I was in a dilemma whether to be single, devote the entire life to God, or get married, or something like that. But the day I met Sri Sathguru, that evening only on a Tuesday evening, on that night, I was not at all able to sleep. Excitement after excitement, and finally, the morning, the mind was completely calm. Your life, you have to do it only to God. Till the decision came, only after I came to Sathguru. So it took, actually, it happened that you have to come to a jnani. Then only your life will move. You will come to a decision. A decision which was tormenting me for more than 2 years came to an end suddenly. And then, see, we have come to Sathguru, we know our ambition, and Sathguru knew everything. So, without asking Vivek and Vairagya, it was given to me. And after, see, I told that I used to take a lot of time to do the method everything. After 3 days, Sathguru asked me, do you find any changes? Yes, I was completely transformed. I never used to care about all my outlook, everything. And I used to put a lot of dignity on my forehead. And I was not at all worried about my dress, everything. And I gave up using pillows. This all happened in a very short time. So that is a touch of a jnani. Jnani, in 1 minute, they will do wonders. So this has happened to me. And of course, Sripeetam, 1981, we shifted to Gopalapuram. So at that time, there was a call from Vijayana Society to Sathguru to come and meet him at some place at Gujarat. So what happened was Srihari and all people were asked to go to their native places. So Vishnu Mohan would accompany Sri Sathguru, and we were told, myself and Raghu, we were close at the time. We were told when Sathguru will return, we cannot tell anything. So we had the privilege of seeing Sathguru off at airport. I was actually very much upset. At the time, I was so much attached to Sathguru, and Sathguru was going to leave, and I don't know how to spend time without Sathguru. So I told Sathguru, my body is here, my heart is flying with you, Sathguru. Yes, let it come. That was a fantastic thing. So the peace, a deep peace descended on me. Of course, Sathguru's trip to Gujarat was sweet, very short only, and Sathguru returned within 3-4 days. So we had that miracle also. And of course, Sathguru, I happened to be one of the Sevatis. So see how Sathguru used to pamper us and give us all kind of just shower love on Sevati. So Sathguru used to call us Pasanga Saptamla, Pasanga. So I also am very proud that I was also one of the Pasangas. And so actually, after tense moments at office, all you will have experienced, when you just usher into the presence of Sathguru, you will see that peace will be descending on you. Whether you believe it or not, that was an experience. Once you start standing, and then you would also feeling the peace radiating from Sathguru indefinitely. And Sathguru used to say, these devotees are sucking the grace of you. See, the devotion is shown, no? That's the magnet. And automatically the grace is being pulled towards you. All those things. Of course, my official purpose, see, the initial periods, we, myself and Raghu, we were there. After that, a lot of Sevatis joined us. So at that time, I had to be always, almost whenever during darshan time, myself and Raghu, we have to take turns, we have to be with Sathguru, all those things. So at that time, whenever I have to come, I have to adjust between the officers and also Sripeetam. But the postings were so adjusted that when there was no darshan for a period of 1 or 2 years, it used to be like that. Then I had a very busy posting, like right at the hospital, like that. Whenever the darshan resumed, I actually leisure posting to local leaders and something like that. So even the postings were so adjusted. So I was actually privileged to serve Sathguru. So that is how it happens. Every one of us who stepped into Sripeetam, we are extremely lucky to have the darshan, the company of Sathguru. And Sathguru used to say, even as back as in 1979, like I said, I have given lot of grace to devotees, with which this itself they can get liberation. So we have all been packed with lot of grace, no doubt at all. Only thing is we have to utilize it. How to utilize it? By following Guru's instructions and by regular meditation prayer, we'll utilize it. So, and we are sure to get liberated if you really follow Sathguru's rules. Thank you very much. My humble pranam to Sathguru, to Sri Hari, thank you.
Narasimhan Guru Devati.
Sathguru, Vishnu, thank you. My association with Sathguru Sripeetam came in 1979. In 1979, I was writing my PA final exam. The grace exam told me Sathguru's photo only. Sathguru's photo only told me 1979 April, I think. May was exam for me, PA final the first time. I did not write one paper very well. I was really shocked. I was really lost. I was praying to Sathguru's photo first time. Sathguru's photo, Sathguru very, I was feeling tears only. I don't know how to do, how to express my gratitude. After praying Sathguru, I know the darshan is out, I have only photo. Then my mind came to only. Sathguru wrote the exam very well. Then where I thought I will fail, I thought 41 marks. I never expected 41 marks. I cleared the entire exam at one stroke. It was a training part in career, 1979 May. Thereafterwards came Sathguru in 1980 and in Chennai. Sathguru was there. A lot of things happened, more than 42 years I didn't speak to them. Instead, 3 instances, I'll do one I told you. Second time was in 2002. We had Sathguru told us to go to Nagar, Nagar to do Seva there. Myself, wife, we all used to go there, do a Seva at the temple. One Friday evening, Saturday early morning, burglary took place at my house. But he came to the room, there are such valuables in that cupboard. That thief completely ransacked the entire place. By the time I got out 4:45, I got up to Saturday Puja to do. The fellow ran away and we saw that the room, everything was completely ransacked except that cupboard where we kept the vegetables. These are the valuables. So we were saved that time with Sathguru's grace to do the seva at Nagar, Nagar temple. But saved of that money loss. That is second instance. Third instances, I told you when I was only Sathguru said to tell your prayers before shot your vehicle. I had a lot of accidents. Whenever in that every time I was served Sathguru, nothing has happened to me. But only the vehicle is damaged.
In Tamil, helped me also. In only 2019 also, I thought I was traveling from Nagar to home. But suddenly, almost a vehicle, bumper got damaged. And the traffic was going in that time, 6:30 evening. The huge traffic was there, Nagar to Nagar, that side there, the governor's road, no, that road. Suddenly, the police fellow came and told me, "Yes, sir, the water has fallen down." The vehicles are coming behind that. So nothing happened to any of the people who came behind that part was lying in the road. So the deadly damage, somebody would have got accident also. It's actually this and I got saved. Somebody came from opposite to pick me up and take the park back. It is really miraculous for me how it happened. Because I do prayers whenever I start the vehicle as in fact the Sathguru. In 2022 also I went to Guru temple. I had standing in the queue, 5:30 in the morning, early morning, 6:15 nothing is moving at all. 1 kilometer queue is there, and I don't know, I have not taken photo of something I have taken. Suddenly one lady came and told me, "Sir, why are you waiting standing here?" But the senior citizen queue in that Sripeetam, the Guru, go there. He only asked me only. A lot of people are waiting there. When old lady came and told me, "Why are you waiting here? Go to senior citizen queue is there in that behind the Destinada, go there." Immediately ran up. I called Swamiji also. Swamiji told me, "Sathguru's grace only got that call. Otherwise, we are waiting in the queue for 3-4 hours in that Guru temple." So that is a lot of things happening here. Even last May month also, I had a serious problem in office. I will have to go to the police station also, give a complaint. I was really shivering. My BP is going up. Suddenly, Advocate Aruna called me, "Do you want my help?" Yes, I want your help. He came all the way to Bangalore, in Bangalore. He also came to the police station. He helped me to wrap the statement beautifully so that I was relieved of the problems. So Sadhguru's grace and Swamiji's grace always helped me. Nothing to do. A lot of incidents happened. I cannot repeat so many things in my life. But thanks to Sadhguru, thanks to Vishnu Mohan, and thanks to Swamiji. I am always grateful to Swamiji, grateful to Sadhguru. I feel my life. Thanks, sir.
I call upon Rajiv, the devotee.
Pranams to Sri Sathguru, pranams to Sri Vishnu Mohan, pranams to Swami. Next month it's going to be actually 50 years since the first time I came to Sripeetam. Life beyond this is actually unthinkable. Everything, every single milestone, everything that's happened in my life is closely associated. I'll just maybe speak about two small things, two very big things rather, not small. So one is that during childhood we were in a very remote part of the country where I got a very strange kind of a stomach problem which never went away. So I could never eat outside. Then one day, very strangely, in 1988, Sri Sathguru called us, me and one more Sevarthi, and actually fed us with our own hands and served us. And the meal was actually prepared by Swamiji. And Sri Sathguru said that he's following that Samaitapar book and he's become, an expert cook and better than that person itself. But that meal actually transformed my own, the stomach issues which I had. And at that time, Sathguru said something very prescient. Sathguru said, you have to travel a lot in your life. You can't go around with this kind of, if you're not able to eat outside at all. After that, I started traveling and never stopped. Still going on now. But every time, I'm constantly reminded of how Sri Sathguru is taken care of very, very, maybe seemingly important things for us, but the overall scheme of things, why would Sri Sathguru bother about, helping us with these very, very small things? One other point which Sri Vishnu Mohan pointed out is that wherever Sripeetam has gone, that location has become very, very, it has flourished. And some devotees will remember that Nagar at that time was like an outpost. It was a very small area. But after that, the bus connectivity came, it became very prosperous, and who would think that it's become one of the poshest areas, in the city. Even though you can say one restaurant has come on the main road, you never expected, but now that's become the scene of things. So wherever Sripeetam is, there is the prosperity all around. Everyone gets benefited. I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I've had. As other devotees had remarked, just maybe the family was coming, I was born in the family, I came there, I'm grateful for that. grateful for everything that I've received. Life without this experience of the last 5 decades is unthinkable. There's nothing beyond this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Eternal and grateful.
Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. So it is now 50 years. September 18th, in Kanchipuram, Sathguru called Vishnu Mohan and myself and asked us, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start ashram. It will be called either Jnana Advaita Peetam or Jnana Advaita Madam. So then he said, but I think Jnana Advaita Peetam is better. What do you all say? So we all said yes. So she went and met another Swami there and came back. And the next day we came to Chennai. From that time onwards, things started happening. First to the Navaratri. And so many things have happened over the years because of Sathguru. So this Sripeetam has been a place where people can come for solace, can come in difficult times, like the porters and come sitting inside there and not feel the difficulties of the world. Sripeetam has come a long way since then. But we have also strongly followed what Sathguru said. So, we have the 50 years followed everything that Sathguru said, without cutting corners, without doing things which many other people do. And so one person came and said, do you know that the ashram there, the 90-year-old Swami, he did like this. He said that he allowed an ashram to be used for making white money of a politician into black for them. So that 90-year-old Swami, he has learned so much and he gave permission, why can't you do it like that? So I said 50 years. So they came and said, we are totally surrendered to the ashram, we are going to be part of the ashram. We are going to do whatever you say. And we'll ensure, at that time Sripeetam needed money very much. We'll ensure that all your programs, everything goes through easily. There'll be after all that, there'll be a good amount remaining every month to build up your reserve. But allow us to use ashram for these things. I said, all it was then 40 years. 40 years, just after Mahasamad. 40 years we did this. In the way which Sathguru will be proud of. Now why should we start? When Vishnu Mohan was there, when he went to income tax, there was income tax officer Shri around. So he came there, he took some papers, he went some clarifications about Sripeetam matters, we went that way. So he said, oh, Jnana Advaita Peetam, I need not see anything, I need not check anything, everything will be perfect. So I said, having lived like that, we aren't starting new things now. So we'll stay poor. So then the mother இருந்தீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு எதுவுமே இருக்காது. If you want to get, you have to also give. You have to do for people. Then he gave one very nice example. He said, where is Lakshmi sitting? Lakshmi is sitting on a lotus. And where is that lotus? It's in the dirt. It comes out of the dirt, it comes out of the mud. So like that, from this money only, Lakshmi will come to you. So I said, no, Lakshmi comes from the chest of Mahavishnu for us. We don't want this is not a Lakshmi. So we have held like this and we have gone on over the years. And Sathguru's message, very powerful message of the 4 pillars of Sripeetam, which are also the 4 pillars of the Hindu religion, and the 4 pillars of which the world is resting. So that everyone has appreciated. Sathguru is teaching about Narasimha Swami also. Various people who are unconnected with Sripeetam have told how much they appreciate it. So that jnana is what is supporting us. That jnana is what should direct our action. So, for the 25th year of Sripeetam, we made small medallions with the picture of Guru Ayyappan. So for this year, we are thinking of 2 things. One is a picture of Sathguru embossed in silver. And also, we all know the story of Malaprabhu. In Guruvayur, we have a huge terracotta statue of a tree with eyes in it. And so, when we all know the story of Puntaram and Nelpattur, Puntaram is saying, he was not a highly educated man. And he recited, instead of saying Amara Prabhu, he said Malaprabhu. Then Nelpattur was hearing that, he laughed. Then Bhagavan said, I am not only Amara Prabhu, I am also the Amara Prabhu, I am the Lord of trees, and Lord of all that exists in this world. So, commemorating that, the Guru, there are some artists trying to make a huge Malaprabhu. The same person is making a Malaprabhu out of wood and also out of terracotta. I'm sorry, not terracotta. That wasn't terracotta, but terracotta is a little difficult to make it out of PVC, and that will be there. Devotees who want can see. It should come to us tonight, but it should have come yesterday, but it's not coming yet. So maybe on Sunday we'll put it and also put pictures of it, and those devotees who want can see, and we will ask them to prepare it for this 50th anniversary. So the main thing is, just like we have the Malaprabhu, just like we have the golden sign, we must also have that teaching of Sathguru in our hearts, that we are Sathguru's children, and we must be worthy children. Shri Krishna Paramastu, Shri Sathguru Paramastu, Narayana.
मणिरञ्जितपदाब्जाय कालाम्बुदश्यामदिव्यतनवे कारुण्यरसवर्षिणयनारविन्दाय कल्याणगुणरत्नवारिणितये जयमङ्गलं नित्यशिवमङ्गलम् जयमङ्गलं नित्यशिवमङ्गलम् नवनीतचोराय नन्दादिगोप गोरक्षिणे गोपिका वल्लभाय नारदमुनीन्द्रनुतनामधेयाय ते नारायणानन्दतीर्थगुरवे जयमङ्गलं नित्यशुभमङ्गलम् जयमङ्गलं नित्यशुभमङ्गलम् जयमङ्गलं नित्यशुभमङ्गलं जयमङ्गलं नित्यशुभमङ्गलं शिवमङ्गलं